Welcome to the first episode of the What Hustle channel, where we ride, we hustle, we repeat. What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel where we ride, we hustle, we repeat. All right, guys, today I'm going solo. So if you, I'm going to talk about a couple of topics, but most of what I'm going to talk about is some of the e-bikes that are coming out. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to talk about some definitions in terms of the law in California. Here's what I want to open up with. We're going to talk about Rad Power Bikes as well. Now, as always, if you have any questions or comments, list them below. I see a couple of guys around there now. I am on I'm on StreamYard, so it's not as easy it is for me to see some of the stuff that's being posted. But I see Verushka's on, Andres, yes and no to Road Trip Buddy. Thank you guys for watching. So, thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Lorena's going to post some of these on so I can read them a little bit better. The other thing I want to apologize for is that right now I'm having some issues with my Wi-Fi. The bandwidth is a little slow, but I'm going to try to get through the show. Again, if you have any questions or comments, listen below and we'll try to answer them. But the first thing I want to talk about today is, and I've talked about this a couple of times already, but I had a conversation with the people over at Life EV. If you're not aware, Life EV is an electric bike company over here in South Florida. They're out of Deerfield, and they bought Rad Power Bikes. And for me, that's a good thing because Rad Power Bikes were a phenomenal company. But let me go over some of the details. Rad Power Bikes at one point was valued at had a valuation of $1.6 billion. I want you to wrap your head around this fact. At one point, they were worth $1.6 billion, and Life EV was able to buy them for $13 million, right? So wrap your brain around the fact that a company in a very short time span went from being a $1 billion company to being a $1 company. That's a huge drop. But sadly, they went bankrupt. And one of the reasons why, and again, I talked about this before, is overexpansion and cost being too high, right? There was also some battery safety issues with the company, as well as some customer service issues. And again, they were started and they went through the pandemic, which is a big problem for a lot of companies, not just e-bike companies, but specifically for Rad Power Bikes. Now, if you owned a Rad Power Bike and you're watching, listen in the comment, but I can tell you that I owned a Rad Power Bike, and they were good bikes. I mean, they were really good. But I'm happy to see that the brand is living on, it's not dead. And I'm bringing this up again because I spoke to people over at Life EV, and they plan to relaunch soon. They're hoping to do so before the fall, but it may be a little earlier. So be on the lookout for some new bikes. They're with the brand with the Rad Power Bikes brand. So that's pretty exciting. Next, let's go into that, because this is interesting, right? We've been talking about regulations for a long time, And I really bash California. California and New Jersey. Man, I just don't know how people live in those states where. I'm not going to get into politics, but I could never live in a state where more than 50% of my money is going to the government, and where the government loves to tell me what to do. I that's just not me. So, having said that, this bill, though, although not great and not what I would want, I think it's the lesser of two evils, right? And let's go over the bill because there's a lot of misconception on this bill. A lot of it is just a repeat of what they already had in the books. But one thing that I find as a plus to this bill is the fact that they separated and defined the difference between an e-bike and an e-moto. Because, and why I think that's important is because I think that the majority of the issues that we see with e-bikes, or let me backtrack, the issues that we see in our industry is that there's a confusion between an e-bike and an e-moto. And the problem children are the ones, in most cases, that are riding these e-motos, right? I think Suron, as a company, they did a phenomenal job. But for the industry, it was the worst thing that could happen for the industry. So, but anyways, a positive thing is that they made e-bikes legal bicycles. They defined it, legal bicycle. We'll go into that in a second. And they defined e-motos as motor vehicles, right? So, here's some key changes. Anything that's 750 watts, or if it goes faster than 28 miles per hour, may not be considered an e-bike anymore. May be the key word there. But if it's over 750 watts, now I'm assuming they mean over 750 because they listed 750 watts. So is it 750 or is it 751? That's going to be for the courts to decide. I think they kind of worded that wrong, but nonetheless, they're defining it as 750 or faster than 28 miles per hour. If it falls outside of that, then it's considered an e-moto, and you have to register it, license plate, insurance, driver's license, etc. Right? Now, here's again, how are they going to enforce this is the big questions. Big question for me, right? Number one, how can a regular cop on the beat know if I'm riding a bike that has a motor that's faster than 750? How are they going to define that? Because in order for something to be enforced, you have to be able to articulate it in a courtroom and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you were writing something that's against the law. So, just like I'll give you an example. If a cop writes you a speeding ticket, he has to go to court and demonstrate that he is efficient, meaning he took a course in radar or laser or whatever instrument he's using, that he took a course and he's mastered that course. That instrument needs to be shown that it is calibrated and functioning properly on a regular basis in order for them to prove that you were speeding. So if I'm riding if I'm riding an e-bike, the only way that a cop can prove that has greater power than 750 is if they put that on a dyno. And I don't see cops putting out a dyno to put your bike on it to see if the motors has a wattage more than 750. That's number one. Which is why I like the speed law, right? Florida has this, but it only has it for trails. You know, if you're on a trail, you can only go a certain speed. And I hope that you know, enforcing speed is what should be important, and not regulating bikes in general, right? Because it's very difficult to regulate a bike, right? Again, I just gave you an example of what will be difficult to prove in court if you're a cop stopping me and saying my bike is let's say it's a 3,000 watt motor. You got to prove that. So that's going to be difficult. So I don't know how that's going to play out in court. The next thing is the next thing I want to talk about is how this is going to change the game for a lot of delivery drivers, right? If you are a delivery driver in, what's up, Bob? If you're a delivery driver and you are in a state that passes a similar law to this, you need to be aware of the fact that don't get caught on radar going, 35 miles an hour, because then you're going to be in violation. So you're going to have to rethink as to how you operate if you are an e-bike dasher, which for me is a loss for California, because I would rather see more people out there dashing on a bike than in a car. And it's funny for a state that champions environmental awareness, that it's all about saving the world. You're going to pass laws that make it difficult for people to make money on e-bikes, and basically force them to get in a car, right? And again, can you? And here's what I'll put out there. I mean, Bob's on there. If you are on, tell me what your thought process is on what I'm about to say. Comment on this. So, as a dasher in South Florida, the way I make money is multi-apping and then having the speed to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, right? So if I have a bike with the max speed on it, let's say, for example, I have a class 3 bike, it doesn't go faster than 28 miles an hour. I can tell you from my experience here in South Florida, I will not make the same amount of money than if I had a bike that went faster. But Bob, tell me, because I know your bike, you do ride class 3 bikes, right? Most of your bikes don't go faster than 38, am I correct? 28, I'm sorry. So Bob writes, is that, what are your new thoughts on the new Uber Eats on-time rating? We're going to touch on that. That's a great question. I'll bring that up in a second. But Bob says it's a really good use of police officers' time. No, it's not, man. And I don't listen. The great majority of cops are not going to be out there enforcing the stupid law. The majority are not. Now if you're acting a fool, and this gives them the power to stop you, right? And do what they have to do if you're acting a fool, right? But going back to that prior question on yes, that's correct. I can't make anywhere near your money on a bike alone. Yes, it's if you are, and I've done it. I've actually tested on some of my reviews. Like, for example, we're going to talk about the T8, because that's one of the subjects I want to talk about. The Tolerate T8 and the company in general. We're going to touch on that because something interesting that's happening with that company. But I've written and tested and reviewed bikes that don't go faster than class 3 speeds, right? 28 miles an hour is the most. And even my favorite, for example, my Anioki bikes, some of them, like, for example, the 48 volt A8, 48 volt 16 amp hour A8 Anioki, that has a top speed of 31 miles an hour. That one, the AQ177, is 32 miles an hour, just a little bit above 28 miles an hour, but I can't use that bike, or I can't go faster than 28 miles an hour in California. So I wouldn't even be able to use those bikes. So it would greatly hamper my ability to make money on an e-bike. So I see that as a big miss for dashers in California, especially e-bike dasher. My boy Andy, he's going to be my how do you call it? He's going to be my guinea pig because he dashes on fast bikes. We'll see how he's able to operate in California when this law comes into full effect. So we'll see. I also can't multi-app on my bike like I can in my car. Yeah, it takes practice, dude. I multi-app on my bike, but it does take practice. It does take practice. And you can definitely get in trouble if you don't have a fast bike. I learned that the hard way because uh, when I was doing bike reviews on e-bikes that weren't fast, and I multi-apped a couple of times, I was delayed. I didn't make it to my drop off point in time. Especially now, because the question was asked, and I think it was asked by Road Buddy, or maybe yes and no, I can't remember who asked the question, about the new your rating on Uber Eats and DoorDash. I can tell you that it hasn't affected me at all, and I actually think it actually has helped me to an extent, right? Because here's what's happening. And here's what you guys need to notice, your thoughts on the new Uber Eats on time rating. I actually think it helps me, especially if you're dashing in peak hours. Because again, they're going to give you enough latitude to get to where you need to go. You just have to be very careful when you're multi-apping and taking two orders on two separate apps at the same time. Because if they're not in the same general location, the algorithm's going to pick that up. And if you don't get there on time, you're going to get hammered. So be very careful when you're multi-apping with the new Dasher and Uber Eats on-time delivery rating. But here's what I like, especially with DoorDash. DoorDash, if you weren't platinum, you have to schedule your dash. Now it doesn't matter. Now you can hop on and dash whenever you want, which is the way it should have been in the beginning. It's how Uber Eats works. So you're able to hop on whenever you want. So that's a plus with the new rule. And again, you're going to have enough latitude to actually, as long as you're not messing around. And there's tricks to the trade that I don't know if they're legal or not, so I won't mention them too much here. But there's ways that you can extend your drop-off time. Maybe if some of you guys want to know and you want to hit me offline, I'll go over those. But you can manipulate the system to extend your drop-off time. So let me see any other question here before I got. They finally changed that it was. That's why I stopped going on DoorDash and started using Uber Eats full time. Yeah, you can go back if you're referring to the scheduling. If you're referring to that, you can go back to DoorDash because now you don't have to be platinum to ride whenever you want. You can dash whenever you want now on DoorDash. Now, those of you that are don't tell the tricks. Yeah, I will. Those that are watching, if you're a dasher, I want to ask you this question as well because I've been noticing it recently since the change, right? Uber Eats, especially in my area, they love to stack you. I've been noticing that recently, not only am I getting a lot more requests, now DoorDash is also giving bonuses. It's the bonus. I can hop on right now, I guarantee you there's at least a $2 to $3 bonus for delivery. Just about for lunch, dinner, anytime. Eddie Benitez from Chicago and I discussed this. There's something definitely going on. Eddie Benitez attributed it to the immigration crackdown. I believe that's part of it, but the other part about it is that South Florida and up north, it's winter time. You know, a lot of people don't like to work in the winter or be cold and being out and about. So I think there's a lot less people dashing right now. So if you're looking to make some money, I'm telling you, now's the time to do it. I'll give you an example. I dashed in the rain. It was I got caught in the rain, but I wanted to test out the water capability of the bike. So, and I posted this video, by the way, but I was out there dashing in the rain. I dashed for, I think it was a total of 2 hours, and I made over 100 and I believe $125 in 2 hours in the rain, and I wasn't going fast because it was raining. It was just so many bonuses, and it's just constant. That's not in my area yet. Still need a platinum dash anytime. Uber Eats has been really bad in my market right now. I think I took 3 orders for the last 2 weeks. Oh wow, yeah, it's it's very regional, but I can tell you here, and I know in Chicago, it's insane. I remember during December, Uber carried me. Yeah. I remember you had a lot of quests. Yeah, gosh, I did an $11 3-point DoorDash delivery, high paying. You know what? I would take that order though. $11 for 3.6 miles. I would take that. I'll take that every day of the week. Um, I think that's a good order. I and just to give you my criteria, and everyone should have their criteria. I need to make $2 per mile, or I'm not taking the order. If I'm not making $2 per mile, I'm not taking that order. Uh, I'm a platinum dasher. Hey, congratulations, being a platinum dasher in Jersey. So because Bob is in Jersey, he's not doing well the next couple of weeks. How have you been doing, Gazozone? How have you been doing this last couple of weeks in dashing? Are you making money? Is it slow? Is it high? While he's answering that, we'll read this next one. In North Las Vegas, area, Nevada, Uber Quest has been really nice. Yes, I'm telling you, man, you can choose between 10 deliveries and 100 and get a bonus of an extra. Yeah, listen, I've been talking to a lot of dashers and a lot of Uber Eats drivers, and the bonuses and the quests are out of control, man. It's a good time to be a dasher. I can say that. Uh, I ride my e-bike and can't wait to get my Anioki. Yeah, when you get an Anioki, man, life is going to change, especially if you get new ones. Now, before it gets too late, let me talk about 2 very important things. A couple things that I'm super happy about. Number 1, my Magician Alpha Mini has been shipped. I should get it next week. Super happy about that. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe so you can see the review on that bike. Super excited about that. My Anioki 72 volt A8 is in my bike shop right now as we speak. I will be putting that bike together in the next day or so. Don't know if I'm going to post anything yet because I have to travel. I got to go to Chicago and I'll be there until Sunday. But when I get back, I will definitely, next week for sure, the end of the week, you'll see the video on that 72 volt A8 Anioki. Super excited about that. I'm going to put that bike head to head with the 60 volt 80 amp hour because the 72 volt is only a 60 amp hour bike, or at least that's what they told me. They're not sure if it's 60 or 70. I'm hoping it's a 70 amp hour battery, but nonetheless, I have the 60 volt 80 amp hour Anioki A8. I'm going to put them both head to head. I am a believer that the higher the voltage, the more efficient the battery is, so the more range I'm going to have. So even though the A8, the 72 volt A8 will have 10 less amp hours than the 72 volt, I think I'm going to get more range on that 72 volt. I know for sure I'm getting more speed. I'm getting a lot more speed on that A8. I'm just hoping that the bike isn't much bigger than the 60 volt. Because that 60 volt's a big, that Adioki 60 volt A8 is big, and forget about the A9. The A9 is a beast of a bike. That's why, and it's a 26 by 4 inch fat tire, which is why, which I don't like, I won't be using. But so that's that. I'm going to answer some of these questions in a second. So Lorena, please put them in order, so and then I'll answer them when I get done, because I want to talk about something very important. So I have teamed up with the company Tonneray. Currently, they have the T8 in single motor version and dual motor version. The link to that bike will be in my description. But here's the deal, people. It's a brand new company. Their website is constantly being improved. Because when they sent me the bike, I had no specs. Like, I had nothing about the bike other than a text message, or it was on WhatsApp, a WhatsApp message that they sent me with what the specs were. But on their website, they had very little information. That's how new the company was when I got the T8. And I got the single motor version. Now, here's what you need to be aware of, because there's a couple of other creators that have reviewed the bike. Brian over at Citizen Cycle, Andy over at Raspy Rides, what's his name, Johnny, or I think I just subscribed to this guy out of New York. I think his name is Johnny Prince or something like that. He just recently reviewed the T8. But here's what everyone needs to understand. Everyone got really a different version of the bike. I, unfortunately, didn't get the advertised 60 volt version. I actually got the 48 volt version of the bike. Now, speaking to the reps, because again, we're about to launch something big with Tonneray. I've been speaking with the representatives. They have revamped, they took our feedback and they have revamped the bike. So a couple of things that are going to be coming out within the next month or so. The T8 currently comes in two versions, as I mentioned. It's supposed to be a 60 volt, 30 amp hour version, dual motor, and both motors are supposed to be 1500 watts rear, 1500 watts in the front, for a total of 3000. And then the single motor version is a 1500 watt motor in the back. Now, again, unfortunately, if you look at my videos, I do say 60 volt because that's what they originally told me. But then after further review, I realized that it's not. It's actually a 48 volt battery version of the bike. But and I haven't gotten into the controller yet because we haven't gotten that far, because I just got notified of that, and I felt it's important you guys know that. So if you see those videos, understand that that's the case with that T8. But they're rectifying that. And the other thing they're rectifying is the fact that currently it's a hardtail, but they're going to come out with a rear suspension and an adjustable front suspension, and they're going to reinforce a couple of things: better display, and the cadence sensor. They're going to fix the cadence sensor because the cadence sensor is bad. And let me not say bad. It's not horrible, but it's not very good. For example, on my version, levels 1 or past 1, 2, and 3, no issues with the cadence sensor. But when you go to 4 and 5, it'll take you only up to 28 miles an hour or 27 miles an hour, and it kills the motor, and you're constantly yo-yoing back and forth, right? It'll speed up to 27, then drop you down. Speed up to 27. It's a nuisance. It's a pain in the ass. They said they fixed that. And they're coming out. I'm going to come out with, the other thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to come out with my own e-bike that's going to be manufactured by the people over at Tonneray. So I'm going to have my own Watt Hustle e-bike. It's going to be a 60 plus volt, 30 amp hour bike. Again, I need speed, I need range. which is what the deal that we're designing for this bike. It's going to be a step through. So be on the lookout for that. That for me. I'm super excited about that. And you guys are the first to hear that Watt Hustle is going to have its own line of e-bikes that are manufactured by Tenere, but it's going to have my brand on it. So that is for me exciting news. Now let me answer these questions, and then we'll be done for today. I switched my strategy and started doing earn by time in the car, 16,000 I'm assuming, and averaging about 28,000 I'm assuming are consistently. Yeah, I've never been a fan of earn by time, but I know a lot of people have had success with earn by time. I just feel I can make a lot more money in my area by the job. I mean, I know my routes, I know my area very well. I can move much faster than I can in a car. And again, that's something else that I tested. So I'm in hot zone Newark area. Oh, that. So again, tell me how you're doing there. I'm way south of Gaza, near Philly. Nice. He makes $100 easy every day on his 13 amp hour battery. Love it, my brother. I love that. That is awesome. Yeah. Uh, what? 72 volt. I need that now. Yeah. I don't think you need a 72 volt. I think 72 volt. Especially you're in Jersey now, bro. I don't know what you guys are gonna do in Jersey, man. That really sucks. But definitely you'll have if you upgrade your battery, man. If you're making $100 on a bike that has a 13 amp hour battery, man, you're gonna kill it when you upgrade your bike. Electric Screw Man, what's up, my brother? Hope you're doing well. I'll buy the new 72 Anioki. Yeah, it's a phenomenal bike. I don't know what they're gonna. I'm waiting for them to list what they're gonna price it at. I don't know what's gonna be the price for the bike. I'm assuming if the 60 volt Anioki is about $3,200, I think is what it is on the website. Let's take a look. Let's take a look to see what that's here. Yes, $3,200 on the website. It was $3,900. It's now $3,200 on their website. And if you use I'm noticing something really interesting. I'll mention it in a second. If you use my discount code, you'll get it under $3,000. But even so if you go on their website now, one of the things you're going to notice, they no longer post the top speed. If you look at all of them, they'll say 28 miles an hour plus. All their bikes now, the new bikes anyway, are coming out with turn signals front and back. They had turn signals before, but not in the front. Now they're coming out with turn signals in the front. They still have, if you look on their website, they have a mix of their 26 versions and the 25 versions. So if you look at the 88 Pro Max 52 volt, that actually is their 25 version. They have a new 26 version that's going to be coming out that has the turn signals same as the 60 volt with the turn signals in the front. If you look at the 88 Pro Max 60 volt that has the turn signal in the front, all their bikes are going to have those same turn signals, except for the 88 Pro Max and the AQ177. Those are smaller bikes. The turn signals are actually on the BMX handlebars. So I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool system. But man, I'm looking at their 88 Pro Max 60 volt. They have it on sale right now for $27.99. If you use my link, you're going to get an additional 3% off. I don't know what that comes out to, but you're going to get an additional 3% off. Guys, that is a steal. That is a very good price for the 25 version of that 8 Pro Max. I would definitely jump on that if you're looking for a bike. If you don't want to go with the 60 volt, the 52 AA Pro Max is also a phenomenal bike. Very good. The dual motor version, though. Get the dual motor version because you're going to get the speed that you need. You'll get the range. That's a good price. And as always, the number, and if you guys didn't know this, you're gonna know it now. The AQ 177 Pro Max dual motor version 52 volt has been, for the third year in a row, been nominated as the best delivery bike on the market. So, and that's been, this is going to be the third year in a row. So that's pretty cool. But I'm waiting for them to come out with a price for the 72 volt. So I'm assuming that if for example, if the 60 volt A8, for example, it was originally $3,500, $3,600, that 72 volt has to be more than that. I'm hoping they sell it for the same price and not go up, but I mean, come on, from 60 volt to 72 volt, it has to be. All right, so let me read some of these messages again. Walter writes, I heard the roll line 4.0 is good. The bike is basically for heavy riders. That's a phenomenal bike. Again, my only complaint with that bike, and that's with any bike that's class 3, it's just too slow for me. I need to be able to go faster. But that bike is, number one, I think it's a good looking bike. It's a moped style e-bike. I think it's a nice looking bike. If you like moped style e-bikes, that's a nice looking bike. It rides good. It is a very good bike, and it's designed for heavier riders. I think let's look at the low capacity. I think it's about 400 pounds for that thing. Let me look this up. And let me see the price on it, because I heard it was a little pricey. Here is the MF4. Yeah, well, it's on sale. It's on sale for $2,000. And that is for the standard. If you get the cargo tank in the back, or I mean, there's different options you can get it on. The other thing about the bike, I don't know if they come. I'm looking to see if they come with a dual battery version on it, because I know that the single battery version, it's only a 20 amp hour bike. Yeah, they do come with two, so you can get a total of 40 amp hours, which is good for a 52 volt bike. But again, this is a nice bike. Oh, I wanted to see the capacity, right? The load capacity. Where is it at? Does it say here? Oh wow, I stand corrected, and I don't know if this is true. It says that the dual motor version of the bike unlocked goes up to 35 miles an hour. If it goes up to 35 miles an hour, that's good. I mean, that's my bottom limit is 35 miles an hour, but it's still good. God damn, my Wi-Fi is killing me today. And I don't see the load capacity on it. Let's see if I can find it someplace else. No, if somebody knows it, put it in the comments. I want scooter. I need something 60 amp hours. Yeah, 60 amp hours, man. The cheapest 60 amp hour is the 60. That's not the cheapest 60 amp hour. The deep power QS7, not the cheapest 60 amp hours. I'm gonna go back to the Tolerate T8. If you get the Tolerate T8, it is this. I'm sorry, that's 60 volt, not 60 amp hour. I'm trying to think the dual motor. I stand corrected because I was thinking 60 volt. It may be the cheapest 60 amp hour. I need the full 80 amp hour. Yes, you do, buddy. You need the full. 72 80 amp are going to be sick. Yes. If you're referring to that Anioki, yes. Like the Hora. Yeah. That e-Hora, so I'm going to go. I'm glad you brought up the e-Hora because I think the Hora bikes are really underrated. I love those bikes. I have the Julia Pro. I had the Julia Pro and I had the Julia Pro 2. I ended up selling the Pro 2 because I like the ride of the Julia Pro 1. It's super fast. The Pro 2 is a little bit faster, but the dual motor version of the Pro 2, it was just a little bit too jerky for me. And again, I like the dual spring suspension on the Julia Pro, but e-Hora is another company that's coming out with some new bikes now in the spring and the summer. I think you can, let me go to the website. I think you can already buy the Romeo with mag wheels, single motor version on it. But their Romeo Ultra, big bike, big ass bike. But man, is that bike, I love that bike. It's just way too big for me, too heavy. It's almost freaking 200 pounds. And when it comes to blurring the lines between an e-bike and a motorcycle, 1000%, that one blurs the line. That one definitely. It is a huge bike, man. It has a 4,800 watt motor, 60 volts. It's just insane. That's an insane bike. Let's look at the specs again on this thing. 60 volt dual motor, 80 amp hour bike, man. That's like my Anioki A8. My Anioki A8 is 60 volt, but the big difference is that my Anioki A8 is a 24 by 4 inch fat tire. This is a 26 by 4 inch. I wish they would make this version in a 20 by 4 inch because I won't get a 26. It's just, the bike is just too big with the 26 by 4. If they could make this e-Hora Romeo Ultra 2 in a 20 by 4 inch fat tire e-bike, I would 1000% have it in my bike shop. It is a phenomenal bike. It is faster than the Anioki, and it has better range than the Anioki. They have two different motors. This motor here is a little louder than the Anioki. So, it depends. If it doesn't bother you, that's great. But if it bothers you, then you may want to stay with the Anioki. Much quieter ride. But I like the suspension better on the on the e-Hora bikes. Better suspension, and it's a phenomenal bike. The D-Power is $900. I've seen the bike. I personally never ridden one, and I've never been asked to review one. So I can't really comment on it. Single motor goes 30 miles an hour. Keep posting the comments, Logan. I want to see some more comments. I don't know if we're in order yet. Okay, somebody already answered that. Next, single motor goes 30 miles an hour and brakes are not hydraulic. Okay, that's not good. A bike that doesn't have hydraulic brakes today is a big miss. You have my budget e-bikes, the T8. That's a 600. The single motor version is a $650, or it was $650. Now it's $750. The prices went up on those T8. But it's a 30 amp hour bike that has hydraulic brakes. The YOLO Wave YR20 has hydraulic brakes. If you don't have hydraulic brakes, man, I don't know what you're doing as an e-bike company. What's next? And again, guys, apologize about the video. Video quality sucks. So I'm going to take this down. We're going to repost it with better quality video after we get done. Lorena, you want to say something?
No, everything is good.
Questions?
No, no more.
All right, my beautiful people, thank you for watching. Don't forget, guys, ride, hustle, repeat. See you next week.